What's going on, friends? It's your boy Professor Face. I have a video here. Man explains why Gen Z hates America, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents and opinions as things arise, and let's just go ahead and get into it.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys. That's not. That should not be our standard.
He's right, though. He's right. That should not be our standard. And currently in my industry, I am working 6 days a week, roughly 10 to 12 hours during the weekday and 8 hours on Saturdays. So that leaves me with Sunday and a couple hours on Saturday to chill and relax and get a reset for the next week. And while we're on that topic, the CEO of Crunch Fitness recently came out and said that if you want a work-life balance, you're not committed to the business. Man, if we were all making millions, I'm sure we would work 90 hours a week. But then if we're all millionaires, a freaking piece of toast would be $1 billion. So anyway, let's get back into it.
Of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who the fuck can afford that?
And they keep building these luxury apartments everywhere. Dude, apartments aren't luxurious. I don't care what appliances you have in there or whatever, dude. It's a freaking drywall and paint and cheap appliances like everything else. And then they want to be like, oh, we have amenities. We have a pool for $400 a year to swim at in the summertime. And, you know, I don't know. It's just ridiculous, dude. The cost of living has exploded in the past few years, and the wages have stayed the exact same. I remember a couple years ago, I was with my ex-girlfriend now, and when we were looking for apartments in the area, I used to say how, oh, I don't want to live in an apartment that's more than $750. And to think about that now, when things are $1,400 a month in my area, it's ludicrous, dude.
It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now. But I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 fucking billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it. The American dream is dead. It is over. Gone and forgotten.
Like George Carlin says, to believe the American dream, you gotta be asleep. Or at least I'm paraphrasing that anyway. But where's the plot gone? I'll tell you where it's gone, dude. It is the 1% of the world versus the rest of the world. And when I say 1%, I'm talking about like Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum people, Davos, all these evil people that literally view themselves as elites and want to control everything you do. They want you to eat bugs and lab-grown meat. If you want to eat bugs, cool. If you want to eat lab-grown meat, cool. I don't. Like, farming in humanity's been... We've had a symbiotic nature since the dawn of time. Anyway, I'm getting off on a rant here, but let's go ahead and get back into it.
I'm about to go on a little rant, so if you have the attention span of a chicken sandwich, this is your cue to skip to the next clip. My mom had my brother at 15, and then she had me at 18. A single mom with 2 kids, she moved to Minnesota, she met a man who had kids, they got married and gave their life to God, and this man worked his ass off to get us from the projects into the middle class. And when I say his ass, I mean his whole ass. I'm talking about waking up at 5 a.m. to walk 3 miles to work in Minnesota. That kind of work your ass off. So I'm a very pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of guy, because that's what I seen as a masculine figure when I was growing up. With that being said, if you want Gen Z to believe in capitalism, you can't allow companies and corporations to come in, buy 25% of the single family homes in America, boost up the prices, charge exorbitant amounts of rent, tell Gen Z that they're basically never going to be able to afford a home, and then act surprised when they start turning into communists.
Literally, like I said, the Klaus Schwabs of the world, they literally have come out and said they want you to own nothing and for you to be happy. Like, I don't remember the other name of this guy, but he came out and said how in the future you as a common person are not going to be able to travel. You're going to have to put on your little 3D glasses if you want to go to a beach, because they want to be on all the islands and only have their little servants there just to make sure you commenters aren't there. The elite.
Percentage of single-family homes in America that was owned by companies and corporations pre-COVID was 5%. Now it's 25%. And you know the solution that they tried to push to Gen Z? Tiny homes. Don't nobody want to live in an $80,000 shed with plumbing. People want enough space for a family. And the craziest part is nobody's talking about the death of the middle class. It seems like the right's focused on Israel and the left is focused on identity politics. And when they do talk about classes, it's never the middle class, because it's not polarizing enough to get votes. So it's always tax cuts for the rich or more welfare programs for the poor. They never talk about the middle class. And it's such a divide and conquer tactic, and if you look, you can see it. Everybody's talking about what group they identify with, and nobody's talking about the fact that the middle class can barely afford food. And let's just be honest, our government on both sides is no longer working for the best interests of the people. They're working towards the best interests of the people that make the millionaires and their campaign donors. You can't tell Gen Z that they gotta work a full-time job, drive Uber Eats in their spare time, and they're never gonna be able to afford a home because they're gonna get outbidded by a corporation, and expect them to believe in capitalism. It's just not gonna work.
A daily reminder that these are the people that actually decide basically everything on behalf of the entire country, where our money gets spent, how much we pay in taxes, whether or not TikTok gets banned, what's considered freedom, what's not. These people probably don't even know how to attach a PDF file to an email. These people probably don't even know how to connect their phone to the Wi-Fi. These people haven't worked a real fucking job in probably 30 years.
Ever.
And also keep in mind that once you get voted into one of these political positions, you get paid at minimum like $200,000 for the rest of your life. So they can just sit in Congress, do absolutely nothing, and just age gracefully, in quotation marks. The worst part about elderly people being in political power is that they're not even going to have to live through the decisions that they are making on behalf of everyone else. They'll be gone by the time the actual real consequences come from their actions that they're deciding on right now. It just makes me sick. And if you look down there, I don't see a single person that looks like they are even at the age of 40. Every single one of these people is 60 plus, and there's a reason for that.
Now that we talked about Gen Z, let's talk about the boomers for a little bit. And this rant is inspired by one of my favorite comedians, Tim Dillon. The boomers are extremely selfish and condescending, and they've convinced themselves that the only reason they prospered is because of hard work. They started with the sexual revolution to rebel against their parents, and then those hippies turned into capitalists and materialists. And to be honest, the sexual revolution wasn't even a rebel. It was just a selfish desire to indulge in sex. And because
you know, boomers, older gens want to be like, oh, you younger gens are just worthless, don't want to work. I don't remember what comedian said it, but they said, you know what generation boomers are? Give me it, it's mine.
Because they came from strong nuclear families, many of them ended up getting married. They bought houses for $30,000, and they love to brag about how that house is now worth $500,000.
Or how, like, they'll be like, oh, I started my first business when I was 25 years old. Yeah, back when you didn't need 10 permits and $100,000 worth of insurance and all these other freaking loopholes we got to jump through now that y'all didn't have to. Like, look up how much harder it is to start a business now versus back in the day. It's insane, dude.
They got all the benefits of the nuclear family, and then they taught their kids they don't need family, they just need a Ferrari. Now they're hogging up all the real estate and all the positions of power. People who haven't worked for 30 years are making decisions on middle-class people that gotta work for every day. They refuse to acknowledge the fact that their grandkids can't afford a $400,000 three-bedroom home, and instead of helping them with their positions of power, they want to line their own pockets.
Yep.
It's absolute insanity. Their whole generational identity is wrapped around the idea that hard work pays off, and that's because they lived in a time where one person could work a job and afford a home. They refuse to acknowledge the fact that the world is different, mostly because of their decisions. We need young, ambitious leaders that are going to be alive for the next 20 years to help us make decisions on what's going to happen in the next 20 years.
Here's a bag of bushings. This bag of bushings, stamped out by machinists, don't need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000.
$90,000.
This is a $90,000 bag of
for $90 worth of metal.
bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DoD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget. We can't afford it anymore.
Bingo. People do not want to see their tax money go to wars in other countries that they cannot even point out on a map when we have homeless people shooting up fentanyl on the streets. And everybody's talking about Israel or Palestine, not even realizing that it's another divide and conquer tactic. I'm team no World War III. How about that? I'm team no World War III. Let's help the homeless people here in America with our American tax dollars. Also, why are we expected to give more money to a government that's been proven to be bad with money? What other entity gets that privilege? If I was a person or any other entity and I walked into a bank with the spending habits that America has, they would laugh me out of the room. But us as Americans who go to work every day are just expected to give them more money when they've proven to be bad with money.
Legit, like, all of us, the middle class, we shouldn't be paying taxes, dude. It should be 100% on corporations and all these mega wealthy rich people, dude. Like Warren Buffett said, they could have had 500 companies pay the entire freaking taxes for the country instead of all of us having to pay for it. It's ridiculous, dude.
What needs to be happening here is that black Americans and white Americans and Latino Americans are all getting together and saying, we're fucking Americans and you're not gonna fuck with us. If they're Americans and you come here from your shithole country and you fuck with us, you're gonna be dealt with. That needs to be the policy. Running up and down the streets, punching people, fucking doing whatever the they want, beating up the cops, flipping the cops off. They divided us intentionally in 2020 so that this exact unity wouldn't happen when they did this shit. People are starting to figure it out. I love it, dude. I love it. People are starting to get it. It's Americans and then it's other people. It's not black, it's not white, it's not gay, it's not straight, it's Americans and then it's other people.
Exactly. Americans have fallen victim to comfort due to materialism and the idea that tolerance is a virtue. And so now we've gotten to the point where we'll tolerate anything as long as there's some level of comfort. The rich know that in tough times, people need someone to blame. And so Americans have been divided into so many subcategories that we forgot that we all Americans. Our
tough time never lasts. Only tough people last.
Government is supposed to work for the people, but they're being bought out by rich lobbyists who influence their decisions based on campaign donations. And we don't even notice that we all getting bent over because everybody's blaming their hardship on the opposing group. We gotta remember that white Americans are the same people that damn near overthrew a government over a 2% tax. American black people are the same people that endured through slavery, built Black Wall Streets, and were the highest married demographic up until the 60s. It's almost as if we've forgotten who we are and the types of people that our ancestors had to be to get us to this point. The companies that are in power and our current government's worst nightmare is for Americans to remember who we are and who we came from. We've become tolerant of treatment that our ancestors would never allow. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or an L, and give me the HBO special as a help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.
I haven't heard the HBO special out in a while. Help a brother out. Good video, dude. Good video. Let me give you a re-like here. So yeah, man, I think some really good points were made here, and you know, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Also, smash that subscribe button. Pew, 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 pew. So anyway, I'll catch y'all on the next one. I got something coming up about the end of someone who is disrespectful and not a doctor. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Later.